GALAXIAS Chapter 12 is officially out, and with this, we get the conclusion to Neraid versus Chalk, and man, was this a pretty high stakes and big conclusion, by also teasing us of Neraid's true identity a bit more, what his ability is as a dragonfolk, and Schmidt might give us some very important exposition in the future as well. But before we jump into things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this chapter. Chapter 12 of GALAXIAS, titled Neraid vs. Chalk, Part 3. And interestingly enough, we start things off with a bit of a flashback. Right after the events of Chapter 1, as Neraid and Geo are leaving Geo's home island on the bridge that Yerkes ended up making with his abilities to make it to the island in the first place, crossing the ocean. And in this instance, we see parts of this bridge begin to collapse, as Geo stating that if they were just a bit slower, they would have fallen into the water. Neraid states that the Scale Dragon's a pretty nifty power and he's kinda jealous, which then prompts Geo to ask him, what kind of dragon is he? As we then cut back to the fight with Chalk as Neraid continues to dodge a bunch more of these stone spikes, with Chalk seemingly not giving him a chance to catch his breath, as he then lunges two giant spikes towards Neraid on both sides, as he then blocks them with his bare hands. As he keeps saying, man, making all of these damn spikes. And Chalk says, and you never hold still. I've never met someone who could survive for so long. Neraid talks back, stating, well, it'd be hard to get hit with such obvious attacks, as Chalk tells him not to underestimate him, stating, fine then, I was bored of how things are going anyway. Neraid says, I bet it's just some more spikes. I'll just keep anticipating, but then as the spikes crumble, he then falls to the ground shortly after they disappear. As he falls to his knees, he's wondering, why am I kneeled? As Chalk goes on to speak a bit more, stating, rocks are fascinating. Sometimes they hide unimaginable things. As we get a panel of water beginning to bubble. He keeps on saying, I'm sorry, but you can no longer stand. Neraid's wondering what's going on, why can't his body move, and his vision's weird. Why is the cave so bright? And realizing it's not that, he can't even open his eyes. And his head hurts so bad, he can die, having his head throbbing with unimaginable pain. As Chalk continues to say, a coral dragon has the ability to control chalky rock, and one of my caliber can easily disassemble them down to the atomic level, as reveals that he released a massive amount of carbon dioxide into the air, and now he's suffering a severe oxygen deficiency. Chalk then stabs the ground with one of his spikes, stating, and I don't just use it as a poison. When I pierce a target and release the stonification, the gas inside, which was swelled hundreds of times, bursts out of the opening. That's my favorite way to kill. So this reveals another aspect of his ability, which is really cool. He can disassemble stone to such a degree that he can create carbon dioxide, basically depriving people of oxygen. And he can also stab people with his stone, turn them into stone, and then once he shatters it, all of the pressure within ends up bursting out. Due to all the pressure, it is instantly built up, which, yeah, that is a pretty big way to kill somebody, very explosive way to kill somebody. He essentially does all this to essentially make these people into a living bomb. So Chalk grabs a stone spear that he creates and walks towards Neraid as his consciousness is beginning to fade, stating he can't dodge this, saying, is it really over? In a place like this, I still don't know anything. As Geo flashes in his mind, as he says, sorry Geo, I said I'd see you later. I can't go with you. But before he can finish this thought, and before Chalk ends up thrusting the spear into him, we cut to black, as a mysterious mouth on the side tells him to open your eyes if you want to live. And a flash of a sketchy character is shown, and a crackle of lightning. He states, if you want to live, then evolve. Now this is incredibly foreboding. This is definitely in Neraid's head, and this could potentially be a natural response or some deeply stuck memory that is blocked in his mind, or his instinct speaking. I got no clue what this is. But if there's another persona in his head that wants to break out, that would be interesting. Or it could be his true memories wanting to break out. But yeah, in this instance where he's about to die, he's told to evolve. As before Chalk can pierce him, Neraid disappears and reappears right behind him. And in fear and confusion, Chalk asks, what are you? As we don't even get to see Neraid's eyes or his pupils. As in an instant, Neraid then hits Chalk square in the chest, knocking him through multiple walls. And as Chalk is continuously breaking out, Neraid then appears in front of him once more. As Chalk says, I couldn't even see anything, Neraid then slams him into the ground as he is breathing heavily, seemingly not being able to breathe. As Neraid walks towards Chalk then grabs his leg, instantly turning him to stone, as he gets incredibly confident, stating, "You got careless. None can oppose my stonification. I will join the royal zodiacs, such as a fitting life for the strongest dragon knight. There's no way I could lose to a nobody brat like you." But in this instance, we then hear something else. The stone on Neraid is beginning to crack with blood spurting out. As he states, he's been turned to stone, but is forcing his way out. And in this instance, Neraid is breaking out of the stone with sheer unimaginable force, as he states in a pretty bizarre way. Royal Zodiacs? What a fancy name. Even though none of them could do a damn thing. As then he taps onto Chalk, and in an instance, a large impact slams him into the ground as he is forced down towards deeper into the mine, with a literal outline of his body where he used to be in this giant hole. As the rubble is beginning to fall, we continue with the previous flashback, with Neraid being asked by Geo what his ability is. As he states, I don't think it's just super strength. As Neraid says, I've never used it, and I've even forgotten how to do it. And he's like, wait, you don't have any ideas of what it is? Come on, once I get curious about something, I can't think about anything else. But Neraid goes on to say, well, if I had to say something, I guess I do have an idea of what it is. And as the smoke begins to clear, he says, I don't remember clearly. I feel like I've been angry for a long, long time. As we see the rest of Neraid's attack completely collapsing the ground around in the mine, going deeper and deeper from this huge shockwave. As Neraid is beginning to falter with, from what it looks like, his tail retreating back into him or even disintegrating for an instance. The thoughts of this flashback continue as Neraid says, what? That has nothing to do with your ability. As Neraid says, I told you, I don't know anything about it. And as he's about to fall to the ground, he's then caught by Schmidt, ending the chapter. Now, this was really cool as we get more teases of what Neraid's ability is. Now, Schmidt said that Neraid is the wave dragon. What that means, I got no clue, but it could just be something to do with the shock waves forcing things out. But with that mysterious voice in his head, for all we know, it could have just been Schmidt using his illusions to try and wake up Neraid's true abilities in this instance. We do know that anger has something to do with it. Now, this could be this other voice in his head, his memories perhaps breaking through in his time of death, telling him to evolve if he doesn't want to die. Perhaps Neraid's ability is adaptation or evolution in combat to make himself overcome what he is being shown. Because realistically, unless his body adapted to that situation with the carbon monoxide, the low oxygen levels, he couldn't stand back up with just sheer force alone, because he was trying. And this is pretty interesting because I'm curious to see how this will further be explored in the future. And I believe Schmidt might give us some interesting details on Neraid because he seems to have an idea of who he is. Now on to Neraid talking about the Royal Zodiac. I believe this isn't Neraid, but perhaps his true self or his true memories coming out in this instance, as he states the Royal Zodiac couldn't do a damn thing. This might be a way of stating that deep down, Neraid might also know what truly happened to the Dragon King, and stating how the Royal Zodiac couldn't do anything about it, perhaps. I got no real clue as to what this could mean, but it seems to point in that direction. And obviously, since Yuri knows about Neraid, perhaps this might have to do with the Royal Zodiac. Perhaps there was a coup d'etat, Yuri and Neraid ended up trying to stop it, or Neraid was awakened due to whatever was going on with the Dragon King and the Royal Zodiac. The hole keeps getting deeper for the mystery of Neraid, and I am incredibly excited to see where this ends up leading us in the future. And I'm excited for what Schmidt could potentially tell us in the next chapter. But that's all from me this week. What did you guys think of this chapter? This fight was really cool. I love the conclusion of it. The mysteries keep getting deeper, and my curiosity continues to be piqued. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. With all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.